This is our CS364 Web Engineering presentation on class responsibility collaboration by Ryan Nilsson and my partner, Matthew Wilson. Quick overview of what we'll be discussing. First, what are CRC cards? How and why do we use them? Advantages and limitations on CRC card use, and recommendations for best practices. So what are CRC cards? CRC is an acronym that stands for Class Responsibilities Collaboration. These three words perfectly explain what a CRC card is and why we use them. So quickly, CRC cards are a brainstorming method that are very similar to UML class diagrams. They provide a quick but non-precise overview of a class and its interactions with other classes. The great thing about this brainstorming method is that all you need to do it is a stack of blank cards and a pen. So CRC cards, breaking it down letter by letter. The first C is for class. This is the name of the class that you're going to be describing, and it just goes at the top of the card. Very simple. The R is for responsibilities. Responsibilities is everything the class knows or does, or in other words, they are the member variables and member methods. These are listed on the left side of the card. Thirdly, the second C is for collaborators. Collaborators are other classes that our main class needs, that relies on in order to fulfill its responsibilities. This is usually done by a collaborator retrieving information or performing an action. Collaborators go on the right side of the card. So here we have two examples of CRC cards, a broad default one at the top and a more specific at the bottom. Up at the top, you can see that we have class name at the top, responsibilities go on the left, collaborators go on the right. Our more specific example, we have a class named student. Our student has multiple variables and methods. Those variables include student number, name, address, phone number, and methods such as enroll in a seminar, drop a seminar, and request transcripts. The collaborators go on the right side, and one of another class that our student class relies on to fulfill its responsibilities is a class named seminar. The way this works is you can think of a student can initiate the function to enroll in a seminar, but the student does not have all the information that is required. For example, a student can try to enroll in a seminar, but the student has no idea of whether a seminar has any vacancy, if it's filled or not. So it relies on the collaborator class, the seminar class, to have a function such as check vacancy. And that seminar class can then return the information on whether a seminar is full or not. So this is what we mean when we talk about collaborators or other classes that our main class rely on in order to fulfill all of its responsibilities. So CRC cards, as mentioned before, are very similar to the UML class diagrams. In fact, CRC cards were originally used to teach object-oriented programming concepts to students before UML class diagrams were introduced as a design method to the students. But because of their versatility and ease of use, many see CRC cards as a valid alternative to UML class designs. So a quick contrasting comparison, we have UML design at the bottom and a CRC card at the top. As you can see with the UML class diagram, it's a little more specific. We get a little bit more information since the methods and the variables are separated by a horizontal line. As well, we're told whether a variable or a method is private or public, and the data type that it'll be working with. So we get a little bit more information in that regard with the UML class diagram. The benefits that a CRC card has, though, is the collaborator section. The collaborator section is going to be telling us the classes that our main class relies on in order to complete all of its responsibilities. And seeing what classes our class relies on helps give you kind of a bigger picture of how that class fits in the grand scheme of things.
The advantages of CRC cards are that they are simple, cheap, and quick to make. They are modifiable, which means they are flexible and great for quick creation and editing of the cards. They make for great stepping stones in the early stages of development. Their simplicity allows for editing in future iterations CRC cards emphasize object-oriented design, which means they can help bridge the gap between abstraction and implementation, especially for those who aren't object-oriented programmers. They are great for top-down development, as it allows quick overviews of how the different classes will be interacting. It also allows a visual representation of hierarchies and class relationships. CRC cards eliminate communication barriers and increase group participation. This is mainly because team members are actively getting involved in defining everything within the project to their specifications. Some of the disadvantages to CRC cards is that they lack details and precision. CRC cards are a brainstorming tool, and as such, there is only a limited amount of space per card. And if you try to use multiple cards to define a single class, it sort of defeats the purpose. When using this technique, naming is extremely important. With only 3 sections on the CRC card, there's not a ton of space, as mentioned before, and so having the class and responsibility naming be precise is extremely important. Another disadvantage is it's not good for procedural information. CRC cards show what they collaborate with and what their responsibilities are, but they don't necessarily show the order in which they'll be used unless you physically organize the cards to display the sequence of events. Our recommendations for using CRC cards are to keep it simple and low-tech. These cards are designed to be just little note cards that you display in front of everybody and can be written and thrown away rather quickly or kept to design an outline. They allow for your team to decide what they think is most important when developing the software. And once again, you need to be extremely precise when you name the classes and the requirements of your cards. They need to be succinct and convey the information that is required. Next is that the information and behavior of each class should be precise. It only does one thing. That is a major component of object-oriented programming and is something often new programmers don't quite understand. And finally, you need to remember that you may be going through more than one CRC session. As the program develops, you may need to brainstorm a little bit more, and so you can repeat this process over and over, and it's very functional when you do so. This is a list of our citations, and we thank you for watching our presentation.